You know, and we talked about making some progress, Mike. 3 guys that started outside the top 10 have made their way inside it, and they're fast cars too. Jimmy Johnson, Matt Kenseth, and Jeff Gordon. And if you look at the biggest mover, it's David Rudiman. He's come from the 18th starting spot all the way up to 11th, and his times are good as well. So there could be a lot of mixing up that goes on in the next segment.
And don't forget about Kurt Busch. I said he'd get back on the lead lap with a free pass. He did. He complained about he hit the wall twice here last year in the earlier races, but at the end of the day, when it come time to go for the $1 million, they had that thing right. I wouldn't count this guy out just yet. I know he's not happy, but they can make him happy.
Well, just look what Brad Keselowski just did.
Right.
He drove up there and passed the leaders.
Now the 3 drivers that fell out of the top 10 from where they started were Montoya and his teammate McMurray and Ryan Newman. They are running 12th, 14th, and 15th.
We're going to get 2 tires, Darrell?
We'll have to see how this all works out here. We bet 50 laps.
Pit road's open.
25. No, sorry.
Here's Dick.
Crew Chief Bob Osborne told Carl Edwards they are right on their plan. He has told the crew, be nice and smooth, boys. A little loose coming off is what they're going to try to fix on this stop. Matt.
And they debated a little bit in the 16 camp, going with 4 at this juncture. Also, wedge adjustment. The car a tick on the free side. Steve?
Matt, pretty sure Casey Kane's just going to take 2 tires. He says the car's all right. I just don't feel like I'm going anywhere. They also make a track bar adjustment, 2 tires.
Well, Carl Edwards got 2, and he got away quickly, as did Casey Kane, but there were a lot of 4-tire changes.
I like getting my 4 right now.
Yeah,
it gives me some options.
And then what do you do on the next one?
Yeah, well, then I've got options. I might stay out. There's some point I'm going to stay out, I promise you.
I'm getting nervous.
Well, let's not get ahead of ourselves. 50 laps are in the books. Greg Biffle, the leader at 50 laps. 50 to go in the NASCAR Sprint All-Star Race on Speed. Speed's coverage of the NASCAR Sprint All-Star Race presented by Sprint, proud sponsor of the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series. Presented in part by Lowe's Consumer Credit Card. Now use your Lowe's Consumer Credit Card to get 5% off everything every day, or choose special financing on purchases of $299 or more. And by Sunoco, the official fuel of NASCAR. Put the fuel of NASCAR in your car. 200 by 80 feet, millions and millions, 9 million LCDs.
How many?
9 million.
Holy cow.
And a few million LCDs in front of Rutledge Wood, Kyle Petty, and friends. If you're not already playing along, don't forget, they're following the race on the Speed social tracker along with other Speed personalities. Join the conversation by going to speed.com/all-star.
That big screen back there, Michael, gives a whole new meaning to drive-in theater. Because that baby is just like sitting in you. Like we used to do back in Owensboro when we go to the Starlight.
Look at Carl. He's trying to spin out the pace car.
Yeah, he knows the driver.
Getting ready for the restart. Carl Edwards, Casey Kane, Jimmy Johnson. Took only 2 tires. So did Regan Smith and David Reagan. They line up 5th and 8th. As we're ready for the restart, 50 to go. 20, 20, and 10. 3 segments. $1 million at the finish. Carl Edwards brings him down. Green flag.
Carl was ready.
Denny Hamlin jumps to the outside. Oh.
And
3 wide.
Oh, Biff. Hold her down, bud. Man, that was almost big.
Jimmy Johnson takes advantage. He's 3rd. Alongside Casey Kane for 2nd. Here comes 5-time in the number 5.
He's a big mover tonight. He's got a fast car.
Kyle Busch 4th. Greg Biffle in 5th. Regan Smith up for 6th against the 17 of Kenseth.
Oh, we got a gaggle. A little bit of a problem right here, getting awfully tight.
I think Clint Boyer and David Rudiman may have some words about that restart.
Rudiman's going to give. See, you can do that here. You can push a guy down that back straightaway here, but you got to get off of him before he gets to the corner, or you'll wreck him.
Unless it's the last lap, and then you might just
then
plan
you
on.
want to wreck him.
You plan on staying on him.
Yeah. It'll be one of those moves like we saw in California with Jimmy Johnson and Kevin Harvick.
2nd place. Jimmy Johnson could not complete the pass on Casey Kane. Kyle Busch gave it a try on the bottom. Johnson has the momentum on the top and holds on to 3rd.
Big Mo up on that outside off of 2. I tell you, you got to be able to make that. You got to be able to run the high side off of 2.
Behind them, Biffle and Kenseth, they're coming.
What about 5 time? We hadn't seen him running the high side all night tonight, and now he's up there and trying to make it work.
Kyle Busch likes the bottom, and his car is pretty steamy. But right there, see how it pushes up, and that momentum off of 2. Got to deal with that, baby.
Johnson third, KB fourth. Here comes Biffle. The Biff up for 4th, and he's going to bring Kenseth with him if he can.
Yeah, Kenseth.
Matt Kenseth could well be the sleeper in this race.
He could be. I mean, that's his style. Kind of just where'd he come from? It's kind of what Matt likes to do.
And we know his crew chief's a gambler. We talk about gambling. He gambled at Dover, and that got him a victory. So
he's the kind of guy like you talked about earlier today, Darrell, before we came on the air. You want to get to that 10-lap segment, and nobody knows I'm there?
That's right.
That's Matt Kenseth.
Where did he come from?
Here's the restart. Keep an eye on the 18, the M&M's car.
He gives a
Kyle
big,
Busch.
big push to Greg Biffle, but Biffle doesn't have anywhere he can go. They're going to get 3 wide here in a second.
Biffle right there just lost his car, ran it up the hill. Lucky he didn't get into Kyle right there. That was a good save.
Regan Smith got a little jump there, but remember, he's one of those with just 2 tires. Smith is now 10th in the 78. Second place, Biffle has marched right up to Casey Kane.
Biffle's car is definitely fast. That restart did him in. He lost a couple of spots there, but I think he ought to be able to drive back up there. But here comes 5 time. Oh, he can't hold it on the bottom. That's a bad move on the 16 part. He's done that a couple of times.
Things loose. He's fighting it.
That set of tires they put on didn't make his car very happy.
And now his teammate Kenseth had a shot at the inside, and Biffle down to block.
Look how fast Johnson goes through the center of that corner, just running up on the outside.
Yep.
Making his way, taking that momentum.
Last time.
Boy, he put the crossover on Casey Kane there, looked to the outside and then dove to the bottom and see if he can hold it.
What about a guy that can pass you low or pass you high? That's a pretty good combination.
Yeah, man, he squeezed right up in front of Casey Kane right there, was able to make that pass.
A little further back, 8th place, David Reagan and Tony Stewart. Where'd Carl go?
He's up here waiting on these guys to catch him.
Yeah, right. He's 1.9 seconds ahead and pulling away.
He knows they'll be coming.
Oh, in the wall, Casey Kane. There might have been contact from Biffle, but Kane's in the fence. Yellow is out.
All right, bud.
What a shame.
He had a great drive going tonight.
Yeah, and Biffle's having a hard time handling the bottom of turns 1 and 2. Well, look down in there at Biffle's rotors, Mike. They're glowing.
That car's done for the All-Star
Oh, yeah,
race.
he's crashed.
May have lost a second. Tire went down.
He doesn't think Biffle had anything to do with it, maybe.
Let's see if there's any contact or if Biffle get down under him. And
Biffle's all over him.
oh, I don't know. That's kind of a hard one to say, but
we couldn't tell from that angle.
It's hard to say if Biffle got into him or if the right rear. I mean, he seemed to think a tire was going down, but he may not know how close Greg Biffle was to him either.
Yeah, 6-4.
I mean, you almost have to think Biffle hit him.
I mean, that's what it looked like.
There's a little mark on the left rear corner of Casey's car, but the angle's not conclusive.
I think getting in, I think it's almost that bump draft thing I was talking about. You can push a guy in a straight line, but you got to get off of him or you'll turn him around when you get to the corner. That could be what happened there. We just got to get a better look at it.
Well, what did Greg Biffle say? Let's listen.
What kind of damage you got? None, never touched him.
There you go.
And there's not even a scratch on the right front of Biffle's car.
He's clean.
When you get up on somebody like that, it's going to make them loose into the corner. So
yeah,
he didn't touch him, but certainly made it difficult for Casey to take the turn, and Casey wasn't able to take the turn.
Yeah, you're running these things on the edge anyway tonight. You're not looking for a whole lot of security. You're looking for a whole lot of speed.
Pit road's open.
Now we're only at 59 laps. We're going to have some takers.
You know what they're doing in the back? They're coming now, and they ain't coming when they get another chance.
Roger that.
Over.
David Rudeman leads them onto pit road.
Rudeman got 4 tires on the last stop, so I'd look for him to get 2 and lead these guys off pit road.
Boyer is in, Mark Martin, Montoya, McMurray, Regan Smith, Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Now this is part of the strategy that we were talking about at the beginning of the race. What are you going to do on these cautions and in these segments?
So from 9th place on back, these cars that come to pit road at lap 60.
I happen to like this strategy, Mike. We talk about mixing it up. You're running back in 9th. How are you ever going to get up to 1st if you do what the guy in 1st does?
Larry and Jeff?
I actually love this strategy because Michael, Darrell, I think you guys are spot on. You come now and you absolutely will not pit when this caution comes out here in about 10 laps.
And Larry, one other thing that I've been seeing and listening on the radio, a lot of these cars that did choose to come in, like Clint Boyer, his car was not doing what needed to be done, so they made a track bar adjustment as well as went underneath there and adjusted the shock to try to make the car turn better.
And I know Carl Edwards and Jimmy Johnson sitting up there running 1st and 2nd, but remember, they've got the same left side tires on that they started the race. It almost puts them in a little bit of a box.
Yeah, that's what we were saying, Larry, when they only took 2 on that break there a while ago. They're going to have to put 4 on sometime, and it's probably not going to be at that good time.
And you know what it also does, Darrell? It tells these other crew chiefs, are 2 tires okay? Yes, they are more than okay. Carl drove away from everyone on 2 tires, but you can't just run on 2 tires forever. You got to have 4 at some point. And now Ruderman and the guys on back in the field, they're all set on tires for a while. Carl's going to have some issues.
61 laps complete. Sprint brings you an inside look at what's happening now inside the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series. Kyle Busch has led 4 laps. Carl Edwards 11. Greg Biffle has led the most laps tonight, 46. For more NASCAR stats and in-car audio, check out NASCAR Sprint Cup Mobile, sprint.com/speed.
Clint Boyer back on pit road, and they are overhauling the right front. I don't know if they're changing a spring rubber or a packer on the shock or adjusting the shock, but they made some big adjustment in the right front. Matt, what do they do, buddy?
DW, they did all of that. You pretty much hit it. He has been absolutely plowing pretty much this entire race. They've made significant adjustments every time they've had a chance. It's just not gotten any better.
You saw Casey Kane take his Camry to the garage area. He will be the first retiree from tonight's NASCAR Sprint All-Star Race. 27th annual running. 26 here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. 1 year, 1986. They went to Atlanta.
Listening in on Twitter a little bit, Matt Kenseth said he thinks he has maybe one of the best cars here, but man, I'm loose. And that's when your crew chief Jimmy Fenning says, okay, well, live with it.
Yeah.
If you're good and loose, then you're going to probably stay loose.
And you know, something can happen to you just like what happened to Casey Kane when you're loose getting in, particularly.
Carl Edwards elects the outside lane for the restart. Jimmy Johnson inside. Kyle Busch, Matt Kenseth, Greg Biffle, Jeff Gordon, Tony Stewart, David Reagan, Denny Hamlin, Kurt Busch, the top 10. Green flag.
Jimmy Johnson was pretty good on that restart. Oh man, look at them going down into 1.
3 wide.
Man, I'm glad that's the best drivers in the world.
Oh, Kurt Busch just nudged David Reagan aside. And here comes Hamlin on the bottom. Regan Smith takes him 3 wide with Ruderman.
Boy, he's not giving him a whole lot. Ruderman's not giving him a whole lot of room right there for Regan Smith, and that's going to get tight.
Ruderman made a good decision there. He said, I better back off. I mean, I want to go in that hole, but there ain't room in there.
That decision was made for him, Michael. He didn't really have a whole lot to do with it.
He was almost into David Reagan. And up at the front, 2nd place, Carl Edwards battling the 18 of Kyle Busch because Jimmy Johnson is away as the leader. Matt?
And Kyle Busch trying to score that elusive All-Star trophy, running in the 3rd position. He says that basically our car is not as loose as anybody else, and we've got to work on that, Steve.
Matt, Jimmy Johnson saying this car is just a little bit tight in turn 1, but everything else is real good.
Whoa, Jeff Gordon just flew past Greg Biffle, and it almost turned Gordon around.
Well, you know, but what's wrong? Greg Biffle can't run the bottom in 1 and 2, and when he tries to, he plows up the hill and just about takes people out.
Big Daddy's coming. Gordon is up to 5th.